We had the idea for the project really long time ago. It was like 2 years ago when I was still in Los Angeles and Lena was in Berlin. So we talked on emails discussing whether it's a good idea to do something like this. And then when we came here, we talked to Kuona. We still didn't know if there is much interest in it here. But since we arrived here, they were really supportive and really helpful. And they provided us with pretty much anything we need, and they let us drill big holes in their space, which is really nice.
Yeah. We started to work on distance earlier than the travel to India, and we have done several exhibitions where Eldar was producing the soundscapes and I was working on the installations and was doing some curating of the exhibitions.
My background is pretty much in music, mostly, and Lena's background is in architecture. Digital art is artworks produced by the means of any digital technology. So it can start even with static pieces, like print or a picture made with a computer, either by means of person drawing or on a computer, or by means of person creating an algorithm that the computer then uses to generate artwork. Humans as species are and were always tool dependent. So whenever, I think since our age, when we discover different species of humans through the development, they use different tools. They were like Stone Age, Metal Age, and that kind of defined the era. And right now, that's just computers that define it, and that's why artists are using it. So, artists used knives before, but knives were not made necessarily for artists, like they were made for hunters, but artists used knives, they used screwdrivers, all these tools. Design school was an interesting experience because it was 70 children or 70 students, of different ages, so it was a bit something that we did not expect.
Yeah, challenging.
Yeah, pretty challenging. I think overall it was great because we had some communication with people, and these things are easier to teach, of course, when you're kind of one-on-one with person, but we feel like we kind of managed to transfer the concept of what we're here for.
I think in the whole culture here, people are really close to art, even through the crafts and the things that they do and the way that they decorate the places and the houses. For us, it was interesting to see how we could bring the art that is usually 2D, let's say on the paper, we could bring it to something to sound or something to be interactive with the kids, and I think that they enjoyed it a lot. We spoke a bit on the ideas behind and the stories behind sound art and video art and visual art, the paths of developing those into what we have now as more interactive art. And for them it was interesting to see because they started with a bit of knowledge now from where it comes from, and then doing some work by themselves, and then with us producing that kind of interactive piece. So I guess the result for them was a bit astonishing, but I think it was nice. It was rewarding.
We made it a little different here just because there were less people. So we also included a little bit about the processing of sound and recording of sound. So people were eager to go out and find some objects that would turn into sound, and that we would manipulate later.
The result with the artists was much more advanced in terms of visual part, because we were both with the drawing that they produced, we're like, oh, it's so beautiful, actually it's so nice as it is. The way that Kuona is organized is amazing, because we have the community of artists here with whom we speak about things, and it was really interesting to walk through their studios and see a lot of inspiration comes from there. And I think this is the concept of such a community-based gallery and art space is wonderful.
Yeah, because Lena always was dreaming about the independent art gallery, owning something like this, and for her,
yeah, Kuona is an example.
Yeah, this is a good example of somebody doing it.
Yeah.